Good morning, everyone. This is Rachel live from 𝐊𝐴𝐴 Studios, and you're watching The Early Trades, a show where we look at the Australian share market at the open, along with the global and domestic drivers triggering market momentum. But first, the big news of the day. The United States, Britain and Australia have announced this morning they're establishing a security partnership for the Indo-Pacific that will involve helping Australia to acquire nuclear-powered submarines as Chinese influence over the region grows. Under the partnership announced by President Joe Biden, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, the United States will provide Australia with the technology and capability to deploy nuclear-powered submarines. The three leaders outlined the deal in a three-way virtual announcement from each of their capitals. We'll bring you more news on this here on 𝐊𝐴𝐴 Live when we gauge China's response. Moving on to Australian shares now. After ending lower in the previous session, Australian shares opened higher this morning. Sentiment was expected to be high after major US stocks ended on a positive note overnight. The ASX 200 opened 17.7 points or 0.24% to 7,434.7% higher. Not percent, sorry, that's points higher, according to the latest ASX futures. On Wednesday, the benchmark index fell 0.3% to 7,417 points. Now, Seven Group Holdings, casino operator SkyCity Entertainment Group and New Zealand telco Spark New Zealand are a few shares going ex-dividend today. For those of you not aware what ex-dividend means, it's a stock that's trading without the value of the next dividend payment, while the ex-dividend date is the day the stock started trading without its next dividend payment. The top gainers of the day on the ASX during opening trade currently are Beach Energy, Chalice Mining, BlueScope Steel, Altium, AUB Group, and the bottom performing stocks currently are Mining, BlueScope Steel, APP, Appen, Insurance Australia, Bega Cheese and Worley. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones rose 0.7% and the S&P 500 climbed 0.85%. The Nasdaq jumped 0.8%. US stocks rose on account of surging oil prices and positive economic data. US factory production data showed that manufacturing was strong in August, despite a slowdown due to closures related to severe storms and the ongoing microchip shortage. Earlier in the day, US import prices for August declined for the first time in 10 months. Investors are awaiting the US Federal Open Market Committee's monetary policy meeting next week. Meanwhile, data out of China showed that factory and retail output and sales growth hit one-year lows in August. Let's take a small break now. I'll be back very soon with vital news affecting the markets today.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
Where the property market is headed next.
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
Apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
With 𝐊𝐴𝐴 TV.
Welcome back. You're watching The Early Trades with me, Rachel, on 𝐊𝐴𝐴 TV. Let's look at some prominent ASX shares during early trades. The first company on our list today is Domain Holdings. The real estate, media and technology services company has agreed to acquire Insight Data Solutions for $159 million. The acquisition will help its real estate website expand its property data and valuation products. The share price of Domain Holdings was trading lower during opening trade at $5.23. Next company on our list is Pointsbet Holdings. They're a provider of racing, sports and iGaming betting products. They've partnered with US soccer team Austin FC as the club's exclusive sportsbook partner. Under the partnership deal, the company will receive permanent on-site recognition at the Major League Soccer team's new venue. The share price of Pointsbet was trading higher during opening trade at $9.71. Moving on to the next company, Australian telecommunications giant Telstra is looking to deliver a high growth over the next 5 years as it expands its 5G coverage to 95% of the population. It's also planned to make net cost reductions of up to $500 million through its updated capital management framework. The share price of Telstra Corporation was trading flat during opening trade at $3.93. Meanwhile, next company, one of Australia's largest miners, Fortescue Metals, has initiated a joint venture with 𝐊𝐴 Aboriginal Corporation to focus on the East and West Queens deposits on the eastern Gurama country, valued at over $500 million. The share price of Fortescue Metals was trading lower during opening trade at $17.72. Next company is Centrepoint Alliance, which provides advice and services to financial firms and has announced the payment of a fully franked special dividend of 1 cent per share. The date to receive the dividend is the 29th of October, while the payment date is the 10th of November. The share price of Centrepoint Alliance was trading flat during opening trade at 26 cents. Now let's take a look at bond yields, crude oil, gold and the metal indices. Let's start with bond yields. The yield on 10-year Treasury notes was up 2.3 basis points to 1.302% after earlier touching a 3-week low. In the currency space, the dollar slumped after softer than expected US inflation data was released on Tuesday. The dollar index last stood at 92.514. Crude oil prices rose after US data revealed a greater than expected drawdown of supplies. WTI crude ended higher by 3.1% and Brent ended 2.5% higher. Energy stocks such as Woodside Petroleum were trading higher during early trade, whereas Santos also traded higher during early trade this morning. Moving on to the futures and commodities space, gold prices fell after the US Fed's tapering uncertainty. Spot gold fell 0.8%, while US gold futures fell 0.68%. ASX listed gold stocks such as Northern Star Resources were seen in the red during early trade, while Newcrest Mining was also trading lower during opening trade this morning.